This video is about liquidated damages in contracts. If there's one universal truth in contracting, it's that internal clients assess it as taking too long, and when things go sideways, that the terms achieved were insufficient. One of the most common asks is for the inclusion of liquidated damages. For those unfamiliar with these terms, liquidated damages are a contractual provision that entitles the purchaser to a discount on the negotiated price if certain performance conditions are not met. It's not a discount technically, but that's effectively what it amounts to. The most common are time and quality. It's a predetermined amount. For example, if a contract stipulates completion of construction by a specific date, the purchaser will be entitled to a discount on the amount otherwise payable for each day delivery was late. Business folks sometimes call these a penalty clause, but that's anathema to contracting. You just have to read them to understand this. The language commonly says something like, "This is a genuine assessment of the loss expected if the condition is not met." These clauses are enforceable if they are assessed as representing a genuine attempt to pre-estimate the amount of loss resulting from the breach. Where such a clause is deemed not to be a sincere pre-estimate, but is rather a sum that is extravagant and unconscionable in amount, it will be considered an unenforceable penalty clause. So here's my first objection. How do you know the magnitude of resulting loss at the contracting phase? Doesn't it seem likely that if you get it wrong, the assessed amount will either be insufficient or so extravagant and unconscionable in amount that it will be deemed unenforceable? My second objection is related to this. Internal clients don't understand the role of liquidated damages, and often they see it as a means of achieving a backdoor price renegotiation while sidestepping the upfront haggling. That's arguably bad faith and a recipe for future disaster. It's better to have the awkward conversation early. Third, can you imagine that a supplier who performs services in good faith wants to be paid and doesn't like giving its hard-earned money taken away capriciously? They might agree to the inclusion of such terms if required, but here's the likely response. 1. They're going to ensure that the contract is written very carefully, and that's going to take a lot of time to negotiate and write. They're going to seek and earn back, or something like that. Bonus amounts if conditions are exceeded, for example. Time is money. 2. They're going to price the deal to preserve expected returns. In short, they'll overcharge, and if conditions are not met, yes, there will be a discount. However, it's simply foregoing extra payment. 3. Most ominously, there's unintended consequences. Supplier personnel are unlikely eager to distinguish themselves to their company's management by being responsible for lost revenue. In those circumstances, they are likely to cut corners to avoid incurring liquidated damages. It's not one big thing, but many individual decisions made with the goal of self-preservation. Often these things aren't obviously until long after the parties are discharged from the contract and the warranty has expired. Next, I ask this. Why contract with a doubtful source? Nowadays, business is about gradually developing familiarity with a supplier over time. You start with low-risk engagements, and as familiarity increases, you entrust them with progressively more complex and high-value work. If you do this, why is jeopardizing their revenue necessary? Finally, do liquidated damages truly benefit the purchaser when they're claimed? Because you want to steer clear of claims they are extravagant and unconscionable. The specified amounts are commonly very generous to the supplier, and they seldom make the purchaser whole. What's more, their existence is prejudicial to subsequent claims. So no liquidated damages, right? No, I didn't say that. There are circumstances where it might make sense. However, more important is benchmarking performance and creating visibility for senior management. Often in my contracts, I have KPIs or performance measures, but no liquidated damages. However, what the contract says is that is the event of a performance breach, certain specified senior managers from the supplier have to be available for a meeting with those of the purchaser, and they need to oversee a plan. In short, I get what I want, increased management focus and corrective action. But I avoid all the pitfalls. This is admittedly a hard thing to explain to internal customers, especially the ones that fashion themselves as savvy commercial negotiators. When I use liquidated damages, I customarily use them on managed services engagements, and there's generous earnback provisions.